بالله العلي العظيم من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له من دون الله وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا وإمامنا وحبيبنا ومعلمنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم هو عبد الله ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وتركها على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. أما بعد, all praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him, we seek His guidance, and we ask for His forgiveness. For whomever Allah guides will never go astray, and whomever is led astray will never find the right path except through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship, that there is no God but God, one and only, with no equal, no partner, and that He subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent our beloved messenger, our beloved teacher, our beloved leader Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with the true message of Islam, and that He, peace and blessings be upon Him, has delivered the message as Allah intended it to be delivered, intact and complete until the day of judgment. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, today inshallah we will be reading from a khutbah by Dr. Muhammad Ratib al-Nabulsi, خطبة عن الغلو في الدين. خطبة للدكتور محمد راتب النابلسي عن الغلو في الدين. يقول الإمام النابلسي: الإسلام وسطي فلا إفراط ولا تفريط ولا غلو ولا تقصير. الإسلام وسط بين المادية المقيتة والروحية الحالمة. Dr. Nabulsi says in his khutbah about excessiveness or extremism in the religion. He says that Islam is a middle of the road religion. There's no excessiveness either way. We always think of excessiveness as extremism or overly conservative, but there's also excessiveness in being on the other end of the spectrum, in being too liberal, away from the middle ground of the religion of Islam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with. الإسلام وسط بين المادية المقيتة والروحية الحالمة. It's in the middle of the ground, between middle of the road between extreme materialism and between spirituality that is not connected whatsoever with this world. بين الواقعية المرة والمثالية التخيلية. Between bitter reality sometimes and this imaginary idealism that we may have sometimes. بين نوازع الجسد ومتطلبات الروح. Between the whims and the desires of the body and the whims or the needs of the soul. وحينما يبني الإنسان هذا البناء القويم عندئذ نقدمه للإنسانية عنصرا نظيفا، نقدمه للمجتمع لبنة صالحة، وهذا ما تهدف إليه التربية في أعظم أهدافها. And when a person is built upon those principles, when a person is built upon these Islamic principles of middle of the road, not excessive in either way, then we present to humanity a member of society that is a building block of the greater community. And this is the ultimate goal of Islamic education, or this is the ultimate goal of what Islam has come with. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: كفى بالمرء إثما أن يضيع من يقوت. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم says it is enough of a sin, or it is such an egregious sin for a person to waste those whom he feeds. Those whom he feeds من يقود أولاده وهو يطعمهم ويلبسهم ويتابع تحصيلهم العلمي، وقد لا يهتم بإيمانهم وقد لا يهتم بدينهم وقد لا يهتم بصلاتهم وقد لا يهتم بمعرفة أصدقائهم. So the Prophet ﷺ said, it is such an egregious sin for a person to waste those whom he cares for, or those whom he feeds. And the question of, well, who are they? Those are the children, your children, brothers and sisters. So if we care about feeding them, we care about having nice clothes on their bodies, we care about their performance in school, but do not or neglect teaching them upon the principles of the religion. We do not care about how they pray. We do not care about whom they hang out with. Then this is how we waste those whom we care for, or those whom we feed, as the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith. الأب أحيانا يضيع من يقود حينما يهمل تربيتهم ويشتغل بدنياه، وعندئذ تتقاذف الأولاد قنوات المجاري الفضائية ومواقع القمامة الإباحية so on and so forth. So a parent can waste his or her children by neglecting the duty of raising those children, especially raising them upon the principles of this religion, and be so preoccupied with this world, then leave them for either TV channels or the internet these days or social media, and not paying any attention to whom they're hanging out with or what principles of Islam are we actually teaching them. والأب يضيع ابنه ثانيا حينما لا ينشئه على المبادئ الإسلامية الصحيحة ويضيعه ثالثا حينما لا يتابع تفاصيل حركته في الحياة. So by not paying attention to the children, or by not spending time to raising them upon the Islamic principles, or by not following whom they hang out with and whom they interact with, this is how we waste our children, and this is how we lose them. كما يقول الإمام النابلسي, this is how we lose them. أحيانا يلتقي مع الغلاة المتطرفين وقد يلتقي مع المتحللين وكلاهما تطرف. هناك تطرف تشددي يبدأ بالتكفير وينتهي بالتفجير، وهناك تطرف يبدأ بالإباحية وينتهي بالانحلال. As the Imam Nablsi says here, that in any of these ways we're wasting our children, and then sometimes they are wasted with, or they are with those whom on the extremist end, that start with takfir, calling everybody a kafir, وينتهي بالتفجير, and ends up blowing themselves, as we hear on the news. Or on the other end, that they let go, it's okay, go with the flow, it's part of life, experience, experiment, and then we lose them completely out of the fold of Islam. And either end of the spectrum, again, is excessiveness or extremism within the faith. لذلك أن نبتعد عن الغلو في الدين. قال عز وجل لا تغلوا في دينكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explicitly states in the Quran, in Surah An-Nisa, Ayah 171, لا تغلوا في دينكم. Do not be excessive in your faith, in your religion. الغلو في الدين كما قلنا موضوع هذه الخطبة، كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام أي إياكم والغلو في الدين فإنه أهلك من كان قبلكم. The Prophet ﷺ also has stated that do not be excessive in your religion, for it has destroyed those who have come before you. ومعنى الغلو, what does excessiveness or extremism in the faith mean? معنى الغلو مجاوزة الحد. الحد إلى هنا، فإن تجاوزت هذا الحد إلى هنا فقد وقعت في الغلو. الغلو or excessiveness or extremism in the faith is to go beyond the limits, the set limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The limit is here. If you go over it to this here, you're excessive in your religion, you're extreme in your religion. الحد هو النص الشرعي. The limit is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed upon us through the Sharia, through the religion. كلام الله عز وجل, the Quran, وما صح من كلام رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the authenticated hadiths of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. These are the things that set the limits for us within the religion. وأن يفهم هذا النص وفق قواعد علم الأصول. Not only just following what's written in the Quran and what's written in the Hadith, but understanding what's written in the Quran and what's written in the Hadith وفق قواعد علم الأصول, upon the principles of the fundamentals of the religion. قال تعالى في كتابه العزيز في سورة الأحزاب وما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة إذا قضى الله ورسوله أمرا أن يكون لهم الخيرة من أمرهم ومن يعص الله ورسوله فقد ضل ضلالا مبينا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ahzab that it is not up to a believing man or a believing woman. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet have decreed something or have made a decision upon something, about something, for that believing man or that believing woman to have a choice in the matter, it's already set. وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا مُبِينًا. And whoever disobeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the teachings of His Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam is has lost their way. فالمؤمن أمام الآية القرآنية التي فيها حكم الله، أمام النص النبوي الصحيح الذي فيه شرح كلام الله، المؤمن أمام هذين النصين كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام إني قد تركت فيكم شيئين لن تضلوا بعدهما كتاب الله وسنتي. So when we are presented with that from the Quran and explanation of that came in the Quran through the life of the Prophet ﷺ or the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, then we do as the Prophet has instructed us, that I left within you, إني قد تركت فيكم شيئين, I left with you two things. لن تضلوا بعدهما. These two things, if you follow, if you adhere to, you will never get lost. Kitab Allah, the Quran, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa sunnati, and the way that I have lived my life or the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when we are presented with an understanding of both the verses of the Quran and the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we should say سمعنا وأطعنا. We listen, we understand, and we obey. أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. Obey Allah and obey the Messenger or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وأولي الأمر منكم, and those with authority from amongst you. الإمام النابلسي أو الدكتور النابلسي يقول من أدق ما قرأت عن شرح هذه الآية شرح الإمام الشافعي, that the best explanation of أولي الأمر, those of authority amongst you, he borrows the explanation from Imam al-Shafi'i. من هم أولي الأمر? Who are the owners of authority within amongst you? قال العلماء والأمراء. العلماء يعلمون الأمر, الأمراء ينفذون الأمر. So Imam al-Shafi'i explains the people of authority amongst you as al-ulama, the scholars, wal-umara, those who rule, the leaders or the rulers of amongst you. Al-ulama ya'lamun al-amr. The scholars understand the matter. They have the knowledge. Wal-umara'u yunaffidhun al-amr. And the leaders, they execute the orders. They make they act upon that knowledge and they act upon that understanding. So Imam al-Shafi'i says there's complementarity. وكان هذا الإمام العظيم أشار إلى التكامل بين العلماء والأمراء. There's complementarity between the scholars and the leaders. والعلماء يعرفون الأمر والأمراء ينفذون الأمر. So one feeds the other. They feed an understanding of the religion for them to be able to deliver and execute upon this religion. لذلك أيها الإخوة الكرام في الإسلام الصحيح والوسطي، الإسلام الذي جاء به النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام، الإسلام الكامل، من أراد هذا الإسلام عليه أن يجمع النصوص القرآنية والنبوية. That for us to truly believe, for us to truly understand our faith and act upon this faith, we have to combine the two. We have to have an understanding of the two, of the Quran and the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ولا يأخذ نصا ويهمل غيره. You don't take one text and ignore the other. We hear of people that say, I only believe in the Quran, I don't believe in anything else. No, akhi. You have to believe in the Quran and the authenticated words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They both complement each other. ولا يأخذ فقرة من نص ويهمل بقية الفقرات. You don't take one paragraph and ignore the rest of the book. You don't take one ayah and ignore the rest of the surah. That's what the excessiveness in the religion comes from. أما الغلاة المتهورون فيضربون بعض النصوص ببعض يأخذون نصا يلائم غلوهم يسلطون عليه الأضواء. Those who are extremists within the faith, they will take a part that suits their fancy. This suits what I'm trying to say, and they will focus on that and ignore the rest. In one of the talks that we talk about the extremism on the other end, when we talk about ISIS and Al-Qaeda and all of that, they take the ayah فَاقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُمْ. They say, kill them where you overtake them. And they say it's in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders you to kill them, ignoring the historical context, the societal, the linguistic, but also ignoring what comes after it when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says فَإِنْ انْتَهَوْا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. They take the first ayah, the first part of the first ayah, فَاقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُمْ, kill them wherever you overtake them, and ignore وَيَتَغَافَلُونَ عَنْ الْآيَةِ الَّتِي تَلِيهَا, the ayah that comes right after it, فَإِنْ انْتَهَوْا, if they cease, if they stop, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ, Allah is the most gracious, the most merciful, the most forgiving. So, يَأْخُذُونَ نَصًّا يُلَائِمُ غُلُوَّهُمْ يُسَلِّطُونَ عَلَيْهِ الْأَضْوَاء. They take one part that fits their agenda, that fits what they're trying to accomplish, and they focus upon it. لذلك المغالي في الدين يتخير من النصوص ما يعجبه وهذا حال أهل الرأي الذين تحكموا بالنص ولم يحتكموا إليه. So they're using the verses or hadiths to justify some idea in their mind and not vice versa, understand the hadith and develop the ideas from it. أنواع الغلو, so there are types of excessiveness. غلو اعتقادي, there is excessiveness in belief, in the creed. عفوا كما يقول الإمام الدكتور النابلسي, there are two kinds of غلو, two kinds of excessiveness. غلو اعتقادي وغلو عملي. Excessiveness in belief, excessiveness in the creed, and غلو عملي, excessiveness in action. غلو اعتقادي وهو أن الغلاة يعتقدون فيما هو جزء من الدين إنه الدين كله. So they take parts of the religion and they say this is the entire religion. The entire religion is this one part. They ignore the rest of it. That's غلو اعتقادي. This is excessiveness in belief. أو غلاة كل فرع من فروع الدين. Or they'll take one aspect of the religion and say this is the religion and ignore all the other branches, all the other aspects of the faith. And on top of that, وينظرون إلى من عني ببقية فروع الدين نظرة ازدراء وإشفاق. ولا يخفي أن من كليات الدين الجانب الاعتقادي والجانب السلوكي والجانب النفسي، وحينما تحل كلية من هذه الكليات محل الدين كله فهذا غلو. So not only that they take one part and ignore the rest, they'll also look at other people who try and understand the rest of it with sympathy. Why are you wasting your time? This is not the faith. This is how warped their mentality is when they're in that sense of excessiveness. But the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is comprehensive. It's complete, it's comprehensive. From the essence of i'tiqad or creed or belief, to the behavior and morality, to the spirituality, to the psychology, all of these are addressed and part and parcel of our faith and part and parcel of our religion. وغلو آخر أن تعتقد أن الإنسان قلب ليس غير. And another form of excessiveness or extremism is to think that the human being is nothing but feelings and emotions, nothing but spiritual. تغذي هذا القلب, and all you care about is just the spiritual aspect of it, ignoring the body, ignoring the desires of the body, and ignoring the needs of the body. وغلو ثالث أن تعتقد أن الإنسان جسم يحتاج إلى المتع الحسية. And the other kind is to think that no, you're just nothing but a body. There's no emotions, there's no heart, and you just feed that body's desires and that's it. الصواب الإنسان عقل يدرك وقلب يحب وجسم يتحرك. غذاء العقل العلم وغذاء القلب الحب وغذاء الجسم الطعام والشراب. But the correct way, the way of Islam, the way that this religion is based upon, is that the human being is a aqlun yudrik, is an intellectual, it's an intellectual mind that comprehends. وقلب يحب, and it's a heart that loves. وجسم يتحرك, and it's a body that moves. وغذاء العقل العلم, and the food for the mind is knowledge. وغذاء القلب الحب, and the food for the heart is love. وغذاء الجسم الطعام والشراب, and the food for the body is the food and drink. وإن لبيت حاجات العقل والقلب والجسم معا تفوقت وإذا لبيت واحدة تطرفت. If you answer to all of these parts of you, brothers, if we can just get a little closer, so so that the brothers in the back can have space to pray on the carpet. Jazakumullah khair. That you don't ignore your body for the sake of the heart, you don't ignore the heart for the sake of the mind, you address all of the needs of all three aspects of you, your heart, your body, and your soul. The second kind of excessiveness or غلو العملي. غلو العملي حينما يقع الإنسان فريسة وساوسه المتسلطة فيظن أنه بمفرده يستطيع أن يرفع المعاناة عن الأمة كلها يعمل غير مشروع في منهج الله فهذا غلو. So the other form of excessiveness is excessiveness in action. To think that I'm the only one who can save this ummah. We've heard this one before. I'm the only one who knows what's best for this ummah. And come up with things that don't fit anything within the religion of this ummah. Or العبد وحينما يتجاوز العبد في عبادته الحد الذي شرعه الله فيهمل عمله ويهمل إسرته وبهذا يختل توازنه. Or to be excessive in worship, and so excessive that you go over the limit that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set for you, and by going over the limit you ignore the other aspects of your life, you ignore your family, you ignore your work, and with that your balance is completely off. ولا يحقق الهدف الأمثل من تدينه فهذا غلو. And you do not ultimately achieve the goal that you're trying to do with your religion, and that's excessiveness. Again, it's a balance between all the different aspects of us as human being. أسباب الغلو كما يقول الدكتور النابلسي ثلاثة أسباب, and we will talk about them inshallah. The reasons for excessiveness: الجهل أسباب الغلو كثيرة من أبرزها الجهل. The most important reason, or the most, I think, neglected reason for excessiveness is lack of knowledge. الجهل, not knowing, not reading, not understanding. نحن في أحاديثنا نقول دائما أعداء المسلمين الاستعمار والصهيونية وهناك عدو أخطر عدو الإنسان هو الجهل. We always say that our worst enemy is Israel. Our worst enemy is the occupation. Our worst enemy is Zionism, socialism, whatever it is we label. But the worst enemy is lack of knowledge, and lack of knowledge specifically of our faith. لأن الجاهل يفعل في نفسه ما لا يستطيع عدوه أن يفعل به. This is very important, that the ignorant person does to him or herself that which no one else can do to himself. You're destroying yourself with your lack of knowledge. You're destroying yourself by wasting your mind, your spirit, and your heart by not feeding it with knowledge of this religion, or knowledge in general, and knowledge of this religion in particular. عدم معرفة حكم الله عز وجل وسنة رسوله, not knowing the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of his prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. وثالثا الهوى, and the third one is desire or whims and desires. الهوى الذي يجر صاحبه إلى التعسف في التأويل, the desire that will lead a person to, again, excessiveness and extremism in interpretation on either end, either on the conservative end or on the extremely liberal end. All these reasons, as Imam al-Nablusi mentions, lack of knowledge, not knowing the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of his prophet, and whims and desires, unbridled whims and desires are what lead us down the path to extremism or excessiveness. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العلي العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, and He shall forgive, for He is the most forgiving, the most merciful. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. All praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So على كل إنسان أن يقوم بواجبه تجاه الدين الإسلامي. Each and every one of us has an obligation towards this faith that we have to fulfill. فبعض الواجبات الفردية, some of the individual obligations that we have. الآباء ينبغي أن يعلموا أن الأبوة رسالة ومسؤولية, وأن تربية أولادهم أعظم كسبهم. والأمهات ينبغي لهن أن يتفرغن لتربية أولادهن والعناية بهم كي تتماسك الأسر ويكون الأولاد لبنات في بناء المجتمع. So, individual responsibilities. What is your role within the society? If you're a father, your responsibility as a father is to care for your family. And as we said in the beginning of the khutbah, caring for the family is not simply putting food on the table, putting clothes on their backs, teaching them the religion. Being an example for your children. That we have to focus on. And the mothers as well, they have that responsibility to teach, to raise their kids in proper manners, in proper fashions, in proper Islamic fashion, so these children become part and parcel of the building blocks of the communities in which we live in. So for you, outside of that role, for each role, you have to pay attention to it. If you're a farmer, you connect with that land, you take care of it. If you're a worker, you're a good colleague. If you're a professional, you're a good professional, you're exemplary of professionalism as a Muslim. And so on and so forth. We pay attention to what role we play, and we fulfill it within the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and of following the example of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that again we may find our way to the middle path and not falter into either excessiveness on the either side of the matter. وهذا لا يكون إلا بإيمان بالله يحملنا على طاعته وإيمان باليوم الآخر يمنعنا أن نظلم بعضنا بعضا. This will not be accomplished without true faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A faith that will lead us to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A faith that will lead us to believe in the hereafter, in the judgment that we're going to face upon when we're before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يمنعنا أن نظلم بعضنا بعضا. A faith that will stop us from transgressing against each other. وحين نقول للطالب واصل دراستك وكن متفوقا وخطط لسنوات قادمة لتكون شيئا مذكورا في حياة الأمة ومستقبلها، لاستثقل هذا وآثر سماع الأخبار وأن يكون منفعلا لا فاعلا. إن بعض الاندفاع قد يضاعف المعاناة بدلا من حلها. فكما أننا نصغر أمام شاب يموت في سبيل الله وفق منهج الله، كذلك نحن في أمس الحاجة إلى شاب يعيش في سبيل الله ويقدم لأمته كل خير، والغفلة عن المستقبل تجعلنا مشغولين أبدا بإطفاء الحرائق هنا وهناك. So when we focus upon the future of our communities, which is the children that we have, the children that are our amana, and if we tell them just to study, and we tell them just to focus on this and ignore all the other aspects of their life, ignore especially the religious aspect of their life, then we haven't given them the true meaning of our teaching, and then they become reactive rather than proactive, and then they will become, rather excessive or prone to being excessive in their reactions to certain things. We center them with this faith. We center them with the teachings of this faith, and instead of becoming preoccupied with what the future holds or trying to this and do that and be successful beyond measure and neglect our family, balance. It all comes down to balance. Nobody's saying don't make $1 million a day. Make $10 million a day, akhi. That's all for you. That's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if the $10 million a day is going to cause you to neglect your family, it's going to cause you to not be a role model for your children, that $10 million a day is not worth anything. Because at the end of the day, we have a responsibility. And our responsibility, inshallah, is to understand our faith through the kitab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of His Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, to exemplify that faith, most importantly to ourselves and to our families, and also to be the members of the society and community that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intended us to be through this religion. And finally, الحقيقة موضوع الغلو في الدين سلبا أو إيجابا تفلتا أو تشددا هو مشكلة كبيرة لا يحلها إلا طلب العلم الحقيقي حتى تعلم أن الإسلام وسطي جمع بين الدنيا والآخرة. And finally, as Dr. Narusi concludes, that the excessiveness in religion, whether positively or negatively, whether in conservatism or in liberalism, either end of the spectrum, is a big problem that will not be solved except through seeking true knowledge, except through understanding that Islam is a middle of the road religion that combines between dunya and akhirah, between this life and the hereafter, بين الحاجات والقيم, between your needs and between aspirations that what we have. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت واصرف عنا برحمتك شر ما قضيت إنك سبحانك تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. Oh Allah, we ask you to show us what's right is right and grant us the ability to follow it, and to show us what's wrong is wrong and to grant us the ability to avoid it. Oh Allah, we ask you to grant us Jannah on this day. Ameen. Allahumma arzuqna Jannat al-Firdaus al-A'la ya arhamar rahimin. Brother Tanzil is asking for your prayers and your dua. He's in the hospital again. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure him and shifa'an la yughadiru saqama, ameen, and to give him speedy recovery, inshallah, and to have him back within our community pretty soon, inshallah. Wa aqimus salat.